This is Will Montgomery, former Washington Redskins center.
Yo, what's good, folks? This is Trey Johnson, the headbanger, yo, and you're listening to Mess Hall with Rally Captain and Tailgate Ted. Word.
What's going on, Rally? You ready for homecoming?
Yeah, I guess I am. You know, this type of weather, it brings good and mixed emotions. How about that? You know, because we know that the warmer temperatures are gone and it's time to put your jackets on. And man, I was still kind of wanting to wear shorts. You know, last week in Baltimore, I had shorts on, and so we've had a huge climate change. And so I guess the real football season is about to begin.
Yeah, I am happy though, because it's at least a 4:24 or 4:05 game, whatever it is this weekend. Because usually I'm up at 5 a.m. and this time of year, 5 a.m., it's 40 degrees outside. So I end up putting a bunch of layers on. And by the time I get to the tailgate, I'm melting my ass off because I've got all the deep fryers and all the grills and everything else. So at least this weekend, I'll probably be up and trying to pack the van up at 7 a.m. So it won't be as cold. And good news is they moved the Bears game next week to a 4:25 game, which I don't know why it wasn't in the first place. You got the
Yeah.
number 1 pick versus the number 2 pick going up against each other. You would think that that's just a perfect setting for the NFL to feature that game, but they decided to flex us once again into a spot. And hey, we're going to get a chance to benefit from that.
So let me get this straight. Am I hearing you correctly that you prefer a 4 p.m. kick versus a 1 p.m. kick?
For tailgating purposes, yes. For away game and everything else purposes, nah. I just want to kind of get the game over with and not have to worry about it. But in regards to the tailgate, man, people get there late. They roll out of bed late. They can't get their kids ready to go and hop on the highway. So then I get people rolling up at 11:30, and we shut the thing down right around then, asking, "Oh, you those guys don't have any food left?" I'm like, no, you're late. At least for the 4 o'clock games, we start tailgating at noon, which some people think is, a good time. To me, that's kind of late to start tailgating. But, for those purposes, it's fine.
Okay. All right. Just want to make sure, you know. And for our listeners, what do you guys prefer? Or you guys don't care one way or the other? I mean, me personally, I prefer a 1 p.m. kick, you know, because that way we get in, kick butt, and we can laugh at everybody else. Versus 4 p.m., we gotta stay mum a little bit. You gotta be humble, you know, because you can't go out there and say what you're gonna do and eat your words later on. So I prefer the 1 o'clock.
Yeah, I hear you. I have a feeling if things keep going the way they're going, we're going to be getting a lot more 4 o'clock kicks and a lot more evening kicks.
Oh,
Things are starting to change around here.
yeah.
And I know that they are running out of tickets for this game this weekend. And once again, Riley and I don't get paid, right? So there are tickets out there. You got to do what you want to do. But I hate the fact that it's homecoming. Drives me crazy. I wish they would just call it alumni weekend. I mean, I feel like I need to ask Mrs. Tailgate to the dance on Saturday night, or maybe
And
every
get her a
homecoming game.
boutonniere. Get her a
Yeah,
boutonniere.
every Commander's homecoming game, right? You do a homecoming rally, and then you at least make your DJ play like 1 or 2 slow songs.
Mm. Well, it depends on can we how you gonna dance? You gonna church hug dance, or you gonna get close and snug and dance? You know that those are the two things you gotta ask yourself.
No, the Holy Ghost doesn't need your room. It's all right, man. It's dirty dancing out here, man. Everyone's having a good time. We're 4 and
Hey,
2.
that's right. That's right. Bear it all. We're 4 and 2, and God help us if we go 5 and 2. You might find some underwear some places that you might not really need them to be.
Hey, save that for New Orleans, man, if that happens. But
Ooh, buddy. Okay.
speaking of good times, man, we got our man Jeff Reinhardt, Pork Rind from the Hog Farmers. The Hog
Hog
Farmers are doing
farmers.
an amazing event coming up next weekend, and we wanted to help them promote it. Rally does a great job raising money for the Red Cross, donating blood, and everything he's doing at his rallies. All those proceeds from the raffle tickets are going to that. We're raising money for lung cancer at Hale Barbecue. I think the tailgate's full this week, but maybe you guys can get in for the Bears game because I think that RSVP is open. The Hog Farmers are actually raising money for pediatric cancer. Actually, I found out today, remember that young man that was ringing the bell during the last game because he finished his cancer treatment?
Yeah.
One of the Hog Farmers kids, man. They invited a bunch of families out to that game. That was one of their kids that they adopted and took care of. And hearing the story from Jeff gave me goosebumps. We want you guys to hear it too. So check out this interview I did with Jeff Reinhart from the Hog Farmers. What's going on, everybody? You guys know me, you guys know Rally, and I'm sure you guys have seen our guest, Jeff Reinhart, on TV or on social media. But for those that don't know you, Jeff, can you let our listeners know who you are and who the Hog Farmers are?
Yeah, so my name is Jeff Reinhart. Normally on game days, you'll see me painted up. I am one of the co-founders, co-presidents of the Hog Farmers Charitable Foundation. We're a group of guys that are pretty passionate about our Washington Commanders, but even more passionate about bringing awareness to pediatric cancer. So next Saturday, October 26th, from 12 to 6 p.m., we're doing our second annual Putt-Putt for Pediatric Cancer down at the Wharf. Teams of 4 cost $100 entry. We're going to have 9 holes. It's almost like a bar crawl, I guess you could say. Last year we did it at the Navy Yard. It was pretty successful. We're trying to make it bigger and better this year. We've got tons of raffle prizes. It's going to be a lot of fun, and hopefully we'll get enough people come out to where we can turn this into a rally, getting ahead of the Chicago Bears game.
That's awesome, man. So this is going to be down at the Wharf. Which, just for those that don't know, which wharf are you talking about?
The Wharf in DC. So they're going to be, we're going to be set up at the.
I think this is the Transit Pier. This is the one down by the Anthem.
Yes.
Down there.
Correct. Yes.
So for those Washington fans that went to the draft party the team had years ago when we took, I think it was Haskins that year. It was actually at the Anthem.
Yep, 2019. Yep.
Yeah, I've been there, guys. There is a ton of parking. There's a ton of underground parking there. There's a ton of street parking. So for those of you that don't like to come into the city because it's hard to park, you got no excuse now. There is a ton of places to go down there. There's a ton of great food out there too. Maybe, grab some stuff from some of the places that are at the stops. I mean, you mentioned you guys are doing this for pediatric cancer. So how can people actually sign up to be a part of this?
So you can go to hogfarmers.networkforgood.com and you'll see the link that will say second annual Putt-Putt for Pediatric Cancer. And if you're not able to make it and you still want to donate, there's a donate button. And if you would like to share it, the more shares that we get, the better it is, because, there's always people out there looking to do something. It's going to be hopefully a beautiful day. It's going to be a Saturday before the game. So hopefully we can get it filled up.
That's awesome, man. I mean, got raffle prizes, giveaways. I mean, you guys are doing a great thing there. I know Rally does some stuff with the Red Cross. I mean, at Hale Barbecue, we're doing things for lung cancer this year. And I see the different hog farmer families that you guys have been supporting throughout the years you've been around. Can you give us a little more detail around that?
Yeah, so we actually last week at the Crucial Catch game, we had 10 families come, and they were involved in the halftime show where they had, cancers from, pediatric cancer, breast cancer. I mean, you name it. They had representation from all different sorts of cancers. So we had 10 families. They put them up in the suites. And one of our kids at halftime, he actually rang the bell, ending, signifying ending of treatment. So that was pretty. It gave me goosebumps, man. It really did. You see videos of it all the time, but to actual witness it in person and seeing the excitement and how pumped up he was, it was. I mean, it gave me goosebumps.
I'm getting them right now.
Right.
Seeing the video after the fact that the team posted, being there in person was just awesome to see the excitement on his face. Mm-hmm. And then seeing the video the team posted afterwards, it's just such an amazing moment. And knowing that you guys give these I don't know what you guys call them exactly, like the boxes for the kids and the
Care
families.
packages. Yeah, we give them care packages. Within that care package, we have our, Be Strong Hog Farmer shirt that has medically equipped side snaps along the sides. So that way, for children that have gone through chemo and they have to, take off their shirts, it becomes uncomfortable for them. So, we came up with an idea where if we put these medically equipped side snaps on these shirts, they don't have to take off their shirt. They can easily get the access to port through the side snaps and get to them. And we've gotten a lot of feedback from the families where they absolutely love it. And, the child, as they're getting treatments, they're, able to be comfortable and not have to worry about other people looking at them with their shirt off. So.
You guys are doing the Lord's work out there, man. Seriously, like hat tip to you guys for everything you do. I know it can't be easy. So for those of our listeners that are going to be in the area for the game, we got people listening all over. If you guys are just flying up to DC for the game, try and sign up. It's a fun event. It's a great event. I can definitely vouch for the boys out there. The Wharf is just a fun location to be in. You're right down there downtown. Trust me, you're going to have a good time. So if you get a chance, and if you guys are watching this or listening to this, we'll actually have all the sign up links on the YouTube video so you guys can see that too. We'll make sure we tweet them out as well. Where can people find you specifically, Jeff?
So the Hog Farmers, we're all on social media, Facebook, the Hog Farmers Charitable Foundation, Instagram, Twitter, the Hog Farmers. I'm on Twitter, Pork Rind. Chris, the other guys, they're all Hog Farmer Joe, Hog Farmer Keith, Hog Farmer Chris, Johnny, Cornwell. We're all on social media, the Hog Farmers Charitable Foundation on Facebook. So
that's awesome, man. We'll make sure to spread the word, and I appreciate you taking the time to jump on with us, man.
Hey, I appreciate you guys having me on, and let's raise some hell this weekend.
Hell yeah. All right, Jeff, you take care.
Brother, you too.
Appreciate Jeff joining. Rally wasn't able to actually jump on with it just because he was working during the day, and we wanted to make sure we got the word out. So seriously, those guys are great. I'm sure you guys have seen them on TV and on the Commanders ads, like you've seen Rally Captain there with his chain and the flag. They do good work. So if you get a chance and you're in town, think about going out to their event. I mean, literally, it is a putt-putt bar crawl around the harbor. I mean, you're sitting there with a bunch of other Commanders fans. It's only going to cost you $25 a person, and you get drink specials, you get raffle prizes, and it's going to do a good cause. So hopefully you guys get a chance to jump in and do that because they're going to make this a big annual thing. Some of the Hail Barbecue crew did it last year. They had a blast, and I told them, stop sending me pictures because I was doing all my tailgate shopping, and I can't be a part of it because I could get all that stuff done the day beforehand. So it was driving me crazy.
Well, I would love to be there myself, but everyone always asks me, how do you get to go to all these games? Well, a brother has to put in the work. That old saying, it's an old adage, and we've heard it before, work hard, play harder. Well, a brother works hard. So that's how I'm able to. Hey, wait a minute. Come on, man.
I just feel bad for you that you're going to miss it. That's all.
I got to pay the bills. I understand, but still, that's bad, bro. That's bad. But anyway, you guys, I'm sure you're going to have a great time. I wish I could be there. And one of these times I am going to make it. I'm going to set aside some time so I can be out there with you guys. But you got to, put in the work to be able to play. So
you definitely do. And speaking of being able to play, I hate to transition this way, but one guy we talked about on our last pod, we didn't actually have coaches report, came out. Jon Allen, not able to play for the rest of the season. And Jon is done. Unfortunately, it was a pec injury. He ran off the field during the Ravens game because it was right there in the end zone I was in. You were on the opposite side of the field. I'm thinking, oh, okay, maybe it's just a stinger. Turns out it wasn't. This is what Coach Quinn had to say about Jon's injury.
Yeah, so Jon has a pec tear, and it's a big blow for us, Jon. Jon Allen's honestly been a staple player, here in the play style and the attitude. So, we're really bummed for him, as the man and the ball player, and we'll certainly miss him this season. And he should likely get surgery, in the days ahead.
So Jon has a weekly segment with the Junkies on 106.7 The Fan. And he actually called in Tuesday morning. I didn't think he would do that. He called in Tuesday morning on his way to get his surgery done. He didn't have to do that. The guys would have cut him some slack. Everyone would definitely understand why he's not dialing in. But, he had a contract and he wanted to live up to it and talk to those guys about it and, made sure they understood what was going on. And I know I've criticized Jon aloud on the podcast and on Fox 5 and other TV segments, but you never want to see something like this happen to, one of the vets on your team. And for this to happen to Jon now when the team is actually good, right? I mean, imagine all those tough seasons. I mean, I hate bringing it up, but him and Duran even fighting on the freaking sideline, it was that bad. To now we're actually on the come up, and to know he's going to miss it, you just feel for a guy like that.
Yeah, I don't like it at all. And prayers go out to him and his family. As Coach said, obviously we like him on the field, but hey, man, this is bigger than that. And best thing to do is just take your time, get yourself prepared, and get yourself ready, because next season we're gonna need you again. And so, but right now, just sit back, relax, and see your friends kick some butt. Get your
Yeah, and
treatments,
that was
brother.
one big thing that Jon said. He was talking about this is just another opportunity for the other guys on the team to step up, right? And hey, it just those guys have to think about it that way. The team actually signed the following player from the practice squad, Sheldon Day. Jon mentioned Sheldon on the show, giving him some shine. He didn't have to do
Mm-hmm.
that, right? They brought in Jalen Holmes, a free agent. So they obviously need to bolster this defensive line. Javante Jean-Baptiste went to short-term IR. He's got an ankle issue right now. So we're thin at defensive line right now. And that's a spot that teams are obviously taking advantage of us on. And some people are saying, oh, well, the team's be better off without him. I'm sorry, zero chance, man. The guy is a stud. I mean, you ask anyone in the NFL if they want to go up against Jon Allen or if they want to go against Sheldon Day. I mean, it's a loss for this team, on top of the fact that the guys were rotating. So now Duran's not going to be as fresh anymore as he was before, because he's probably going to have to play more snaps. So maybe his production level is going to go down. So it's a bummer to see that happen to Jon, but next man up. And I've got faith in Adam Peters to do what he needs to do to get these guys ready. And they did draft Johnny Newton, and Johnny's been getting more and more playtime. So maybe he's just going to have to get more ahead of schedule. And we'll see if he truly was the steal of the draft that people were talking about right after it happened.
I think that you hate to see a guy go out like this, but it creates opportunities for other guys. And we never know just how hungry someone is until you throw them out there, and I look forward to seeing what they have in store for these guys. I believe that I'm not going to say Peters, I'm going to say Quinn will have the guys ready, because Peters is who you said before, but I understood what you meant. But I'm hoping that Quinn and Witt has these guys ready to play, because we can't look past the Panthers. At this juncture, we can't look past any NFL team, because they know that that's one of our weak spots is our running game attack. So I'm just hoping that everybody is good to go. Their mind is right. And as you said earlier, the next man up. And this is truly the next man up. So we're going to see how this goes.
Yeah, we will. And, it's good that this game is at home. It's good that we're going to get a chance to, I don't want to take the Panthers lightly, but it's good that we're going to get a chance to go up against a team that at least Vegas is thinking we're going to mop the floor with. I don't think I believe that. I think it was an 8.5-point spread earlier. I think it might have changed at this point. But before we jump into the matchup, I didn't think we were going to keep the segment going, but because unfortunately, since we lost this past week, I want to see if you can figure out where we are on the power rankings. So last week, we were 6th. Obviously, things did not go well.
Good old 6.
Where do you think we moved to? Let's just say plus or minus 2.
I'm going to say 11.
11. You think we dropped
Yeah.
down 3 spots?
Yeah.
All right. Thank goodness you're not rating us. So the NFL moved us down to 8th at that point. So we dropped down 2
8th?
spots. We're dropped down to 8th. I mean, which, it ain't bad. Above
No.
us, I mean, you got the Vikings are first. You got the Chiefs second, right? The Ravens are third. You got the Texans, who are 5-1 at 4. The Lions at 5. They're 4-1. You've got the Bills at 6 and the Packers at 7. So I agree. I think all those teams are stronger than us right now. I think if we had to play them, it'd be tough. And at 9, you got the Bucks. And I still am surprised that the Bucks are actually lower than us or higher than us, considering they did beat us, but they also haven't had a ton of good games lately. And the Bucks are 4-2, and we're both 4-2. And it says here, had they made the field goal before the half and score a touchdown, not a field goal at the start of the third quarter, the Commanders would have had a far better chance of winning in Baltimore. This was a mostly strong showing in a tough environment. The Commanders held firmer than, say, last season's upstart darlings, the Lions, did in Baltimore about a year ago. All told, Sunday was another strong showing by Jaden Daniels and the offense, with the 30-23 loss being more of an indictment on the defense, allowing big plays all game. This is clearly the biggest issue with Washington right now. Without a viable pass rush or the ability to create turnovers, plural, the Commanders are going to struggle against the league's higher caliber offenses, especially after the reported season-long loss of defensive tackle Jon Allen. But are the Commanders still a contender in spite of this? I maintain an emphatic yes. Daniels couldn't match Lamar Jackson's lethality level, but was darn good in defeat. And I enjoy this because we get all the DC media talking about us, right? And not saying that they're hyping us up or down, but this is once again someone from the NFL that gets to look at all the other teams. And knowing that we're being compared to all of them, hey, we're still top 10.
I'm not upset about that at all. And for all those reasons is why I said 11.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think that we lack where, if we're going to keep it a buck, we lack where those other teams don't. Our running stoppage is putrid. Everybody knows I love my squad, but if we're going to be real about it, that's the reason why I thought that we dropped.
Yeah.
So, but okay, I'm not going to fight. If that's what he says, we're 8, I'll take it. But I just don't want the guys to read the press clippings. I mean, everybody knows our deficiencies, and I just think that we have to do better in order to maintain being in the top 10. That's all.
We definitely do. And you start to wonder, talking about the press clippings, everyone's picking us to win this game, which scares the hell out of me, right? Do you think that the team is starting to read that, oh, it's Carolina, this is, we can just sleep on these guys and then focus on Caleb and the Bears? Well, this is actually what DQ had to say about the team responding to the 1-5 Panthers.
You look at the records and they're 1-5, right? Carolina, but any given Sunday, anything can happen. Do you have to remind your team of don't look at the records? I mean, anything can happen type deal.
We don't. And the reason is so much of the focus is on us. We got plenty to work on, Scott, and we are absolutely going to go sharpen our game as strong as we can, and knowing that will pay dividends, moving forward. But no, we're absolutely going forward as hard as we can, and we want to see those leaps and that progress take place, and that's what we intend on doing for sure.
Do you buy it? Do you think that the guys aren't thinking about it?
if you have red blood pumping through your body, yes, you're thinking about it. I mean, no matter from high school to college to semi-pro to pro, you look at what the other teams ranked. You look at what their wins and losses. You just do until what happens, you get hit in the mouth, and then it brings you back to reality. But I think these guys, to a degree, they understand that this is the NFL, and these guys are in the league for a reason. And no one thought that the Giants were going to beat Seattle, but they did. No one thought that Vanderbilt. That's not now. This isn't obviously pros, but football. The concept of football is the same. No one thought that Vanderbilt would beat Alabama. Alabama looked past them, and look what happened to them. So if you're not fired up the right way, you're going to get your arse beat. And I'm hoping that in Northwest Stadium at 8 o'clock or 7:45, when this game, the clock strikes 0, that we are victorious and they did not read their press clippings.
I'm hoping you're right. I think that because of the vets that we have on this team, they're not going to allow themselves to do that, because Bobby Wagner has been here before, right? I don't think Luvu has, just because I don't think he's been on a bunch of good teams, but Austin Eckler has been here before. Zach Ertz, we know for sure, has been here before. So I think those group of guys are going to make sure that our younger guys are not going to sleep on these guys. And believe it or not, I think Jaden is going to make sure that the guys don't do that. Even though he's a rook, I think he understands, right? You can't get, and he's been saying it during his press conferences, you can't get too high for a game. You can't get too low for a game. You just stay even, then you can't get let down. And right now we're 4-2, right? And just going off of this list, the Eagles are 3-2, and they're 12th in the power rankings, right? The Cowboys, we saw, them get their ass beat the other night on Jerry Jones's birthday, which was freaking amazing.
Love it.
They're 3-3, and they're 19th in the power rankings, right? And then the Giants are 2-4, and they're 23 in the power rankings right now. Knowing that the NFC East is a realistic goal, actually winning the East is a goal, and seeing all these other teams make these trades, right? The Bills added Amari Cooper, right? The Jets get Devontae Adams, right? There's movements happening right now. The Seahawks get Robert Harrison from the Jaguars, right? Do you want us to make a trade that could further strengthen our chance at winning the East?
Well, you said a mouthful, and that last sentence is what I'm going to go off of. Yes, if it gives us a chance, a better chance, yes, why wouldn't I? Because right now we just don't have enough gas. We've got the motivation, we've got the will, but we don't have enough gas. And let's look at a Dodge Charger against a Pacer. The Charger is going to win every time, even though no matter what you do to that Pacer, you can put a new engine in it, you can do, but that Charger is going to win. And that's how I look at this right now. We're not as bad off as a Pacer, but you understand the comparison, what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
These other guys are high powered, and we're power. We were high power, but we're power now. And so high powered at a high octane will dominate. And so I just want us to be able to, yeah, and they ain't pulling over either. Blue means go. So that's our issue. So if it's gonna make our team better, I'd say let's do what we need to do to make the team better. And here's the thing. I think before, Adam Peters was like, no, we're gonna do this the right way, and we got time, and I think that's before we turned into being a semi powerhouse. Before we were 4-2, everybody can say, no, we're going to take our time, we're going to do it this way, and before the season starts. But now the season is here, and you're like, wait a minute, we'd have a chance. This would almost be like Rivera last year not knowing what he had, or the year before last, not knowing what he had. And I feel as though the adults in the building know better than that. And so I don't believe that they're going to go out and make a splash, but I believe that they see, you know what, we're here. And if by chance we can close that gap to be closer to being better, I'm sure that they have been on the phones, and I'm sure they have been looking at film, trying to figure out what they can do to keep us into contentions, into going into the playoffs, and possibly winning the first round of a playoff game.
Yeah, I mean, right now we've got $27 million in cap space, right? It's not, it's just sitting there. It's doing nothing. So they do have a chance to spend that money on somebody. For me, I remember 2007 when we played Seattle in the playoffs, thinking, I'm in Seattle, we're there, we end up losing the game. It sucked. I'm in the locker room. Well, I'm outside the locker room hanging out with the team because I had a bunch of friends that played on the team at that time. I'm thinking, you know what? It's going to be okay. We're going to get back here again, right? Little did I know, we weren't getting back there anytime soon. I think the time we made it after that was 2012, right? And
2012, yeah.
You never know when you're going to get a chance to actually go on a run like this again. So to me, if we get a chance to bring on a impactful player in a trade, like you said, that can help us in the postseason where we're weak, to me, that's the caveat, where we're weak. Like, I don't want to mortgage the future, because you have people yelling and screaming, why aren't we bringing in Devontae Adams? To me, I didn't want a Devontae Adams here. You know, it's amazing how he had a hamstring problem, right, the past couple of weeks, and then today he was a full participant in practice. You know, all of a sudden that hamstring was okay.
Miraculously cured itself. That's what happens.
Just like, you know, Jacoby Briskett's hamstring last year that just came out of nowhere, right? You know, it is what it is. But I don't want us to bring on a wide receiver, right, or something. I want a defensive, and I know I can't pick and choose what I'm saying trade here, but if we can bring on someone for the defense that can help out, a defensive tackle, you know, a cornerback, so it's not just Noah Igbenogany and Benjamin St. Juste out there, and we got like another vet. They actually brought in Kyle Fuller, Kendall Fuller's brother. He hasn't played in 2 years, but they brought him in to try him out. And that wouldn't be a trade. He'd be a free agent pickup. But I would love it if we did something now, because I think this is our chance to actually do something. And no, I didn't think we'd be here, but now the fact that we are, let's freaking go all in. Let's push our chips in and let's try and do something, as long as we're not, you know, mortgaging the future and pulling a Ricky Williams type of deal where we're giving away like 10 draft picks for like one dude.
No, yeah, I totally agree with you. And obviously they're smarter than what we are, and they're thinking the exact same thing. And I'm sure, you know, Coach Quinn is saying, hey, Adam, you know, hey, come on, man, help a brother out. Hobo, help a brother out. Come on now, because we're there. And his name is on the line. You know, he came from a winning organization, and he wants to win. He smelt the Super Bowl. He knows what it takes. And I'd like to know, what do you think his chances are that he really has the capability to talk to Adam and say, bring this guy in, or is that strictly all on Adam? You know, how do you think that plays out?
I think it's collaborative. I think that DQ tells Adam where we need help or where we're stronger. And, you know, maybe let's take advantage of it. Like, you know, everyone thought that this wide receiver core was weak before the season started, right? Well, we traded away Jahan Dotson for a third. And there was a Philly reporter that was on with B. Mitch and Finley saying, return to sender, give him back, right? We don't want him here, right? But we proved, not we, but they proved that wide receiver actually was a position of strength for this team, not a weakness. So I think that they do communicate. And this is actually what DQ had to say about that.
Has anything accelerated because of your 4-2 start in terms of how you want to build this roster? You look around the league, there's a few trades going on. What is anything changed with that as far as how you guys approach things? And what is the challenge of even adding players at this point if you wanted to go down there?
Right. That's a good question for Adam, but we talk about the team all the time, so although there's a deadline, it doesn't mean there's a, time that you have to, begin that. And so we spent a lot of time on the roster and the team, and you're right that we did get banged up into some spots, and that's why we are fortunate that the practice squad is bigger, than it was years ago. And you guys can remember that when, there was 4 players, and then the street list was different and you went through that. But now there's I feel like a really good developmental plan of people that are in the building and practicing and playing. And so when those opportunities come up to go deliver, and although people may have not played a lot of reps, they get their chances. And I know you probably heard me say it before, but J-Mac is certainly the one that comes to mind for me of when his number was called, you get ready to deliver. And that's just such a pure example for us.
I mean, hearing they talk about it all the time, like, do you think Quinn says, hey, Adam, we've had a couple of healthy scratches that are first-round picks. What do you think you can get for them? What do you think you can get for E-Man and Jamin over there? Because to me, they're not doing a damn thing on our roster. And if we can realistically get rid of Emmanuel Forbes and Jamin Davis and maybe bring in Hassan Reddick and a draft pick or something, because Forbes did have a first-round grade by other teams. He just didn't have a first-round grade as high as we took him. Jamin, I think most teams had him in the second round, but Forbes at least had a first. So I'd love to shop those guys around because they are just sitting there, just taking up oxygen. That's about it.
I agree with you, and I'm sure that Adam is, like I told you, he's working those phones. We know. Matter of fact, there's no. I think we know he is. We know he is because he sees the deficiencies as well. And I'll say it again: keep bringing the pieces in, and I wouldn't be surprised here in the next day or two we hear that we've signed someone else.
I'd love to hear that as long as it's a position we need. But this is actually what DQ had to say about Forbes not playing right now.
Corner is Emmanuel Forbes. You guys haven't used him much really the last 2 games, inactive this week. What at this point is holding Forbes back from getting on the field in a significant way defensively?
Yeah, and we'll look for that again this week, Ben. Really, honestly, we just wanted to add another defensive lineman up last week. Baltimore, I believe, had used the fewest 3 wide receiver sets leading into the game. So going in, we thought, man, we just need as much, line of scrimmage help as we could. So we dressed an extra defensive lineman. So it wasn't performance related in that space. And as we get into next week, we certainly expect E-Man to, back into the space and going for it in that way.
I don't know how he can realistically say it's not performance based because he's a first round pick. And if he performed, he'd be out there instead of Noah Igbenogany, right, who was a free agent they brought in here. But whatever makes him feel better at that point, I think that's just a flat out lie. They wanted to bring up an extra defensive lineman. Okay, I get that, and thank goodness. And guess what? We're probably going to have to do that again this weekend. So I don't know if we're going to see Forbes this weekend either.
It depends on the matchup. I don't know much about the Panthers, but I'm sure that if they've got a stud receiver, probably not. Probably not. They need somebody who's more heavier in the butt, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely that's the frustrating part, right? It shouldn't depend on the match, and we're beating a dead horse when it comes to this kid. It just shouldn't depend on the matchup for your first round pick. Just plain simple. He should be out on that field, and it's just we paid for the sins of Vinny Serrato for years. We paid for the sins of Bruce Allen, and now we're paying for the sins of Ron Rivera, and that's just what drives me crazy. Because imagine if we had the cornerback we should have took. What was it, Christian Gonzalez that the Patriots got? Like the guy everyone wanted us to take instead of Forbes. Imagine if we had him right now actually at DB instead of who we got. But, ifs and buts. It is what it is. We're stuck with who we got.
Yeah, yeah. We got to roll with the punches, and that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, I think the guys are rolling with the punches. And we talked about, you find out the true character of a team after a loss, not after all these wins and Jaden collecting these rookie of the weeks and this and that. Well, this is actually what DQ had to say about how the players responded.
After a loss, I know the guy said in the locker room afterwards, this is a test, and we want to be in these tests. In the last couple of days, what's been the reaction? What have you seen from your guys?
Yeah, I saw, number one, a lot of people here yesterday, and that was their day off, but whether that was them getting in, getting their workouts, getting treatment, and so just to see the amount of people here, without the coaches, I thought that's a good sign, Chick, to think of the guys are getting here to work on the stuff they want to work on to absolutely throw a great week. And specifically, there's things that the team wants to work on, whether that might be third down. We got a bigger emphasis for that today. Some things in the run game that we wanted to get ironed out. And so that's what I challenged us on, honestly, like, can we get stronger? And there's all sorts of ways and opportunities to do that. And those leaps, although think of like a spring you're putting down, you see it uncoil and all this energy takes place. As the players, they don't get to see that, but it's going to happen again in this leap. But you got to go put the work in to, another 4 or 5 weeks from now, say, okay, that's when I started that, and now I'm getting better at it. And that's where our challenge is. And that we've got great regard for Dave and Carolina and everything else, but it does come back to us saying there's a lot that we need to get stronger and improve upon. And like, we are going to work really hard to do that.
You think some of the guys in the locker room heard the last show and said the need to come in on their day off and decide to do it?
I like to believe so.
We know they listen down there. I don't know if any of the players listen, but we know some of the executives listen because I've gotten texts in the past. But it's awesome to hear that the guys are doing that, because that's what it takes to be in the top 10 of the power rankings. That's what it takes to actually be a contender, right? I think Quinn was asked, he has worked with a bunch of good quarterbacks, and what does Jaden have in common with them? And he said work ethic. And to me, your quarterback just can't have that work ethic. Their entire team has to have that work ethic. And it sounds like they do.
Oh, yeah. And I love hearing it. For the first time in a long time, we hear that the guys are vibing together, doing things together. For a long time, we heard guys they go out and do their own thing and come in at their own whatever time. But these guys you don't have to tell them to show up. They're there before, and that speaks volumes. Once again, we have guys who want to be here and they just aren't earning a paycheck and look at it as if, hey, I'm making money regardless. So the amount of effort that I put forward, it will be minimal. I honestly feel as though these guys are giving it their all.
I mean, you would have guys on this team beforehand that a lot of people joke and say they made business decisions during the game where they wouldn't give it their all. They wouldn't go in there and try and tackle a Derrick Henry because we're already losing and it's not working, and they'd rather save themselves and save their body. I don't see that with these guys right now. And who knows what's going to happen down the road and how this team is going to turn out. But I think we talked about earlier, those vets not letting that loss get to those guys, not letting the fact that we're playing the 1-5 Panthers, the other guys sleep on them. And I think the fact that they're coming in on their day off means that these guys are not sleeping on the fact that the Panthers are 1-5 and that they're ranked 32nd in the power rankings, right? Any given Sunday, any chance. Andy Dalton, believe it or not, as old as he is actually a good quarterback. I mean, a vet in this league. So I'd be curious to see what happens. Chuba Hubbard, if you guys don't play fantasy football, you might not know who Chuba Hubbard is, but that's the running back. He's third in the league right now in rushing yards, right? He's actually having a decent season. It just sucks for him because they're always losing, so they're not getting a chance to actually run the ball as much. But I want to say he had some stat that was actually, see if I can find it. I think he was averaging 5 yards a carry at this point.
Wow.
I mean, that's with them not doing well. right? And yeah, he's averaging 5.6 yards a carry. And his yards after contact is high as well. So guess where we're weak? Our run defense.
Yeah.
It's a copycat league. They saw what the freaking Ravens just did to us. And they don't have a Derrick Henry, right? They don't have a Lamar Jackson that we have to worry about on a read option as well. Andy Dalton's not running a read option. There is no chance Andy Dalton's going to try and run and scramble on us. If he does, I think you and I can chase his ass down. But
Ooh.
I think we could do it, man.
All right.
I've seen you on. Granted, you're on a bike, but I know you've got some, wheels on you.
Don't get me wrong. Now I've got a little extra gear, but once it peters out, I'm done.
All right, I'll pick up your slack, man. My wheels have been going a little faster. I actually kind of wanted to do a 40 time just because I've been doing a lot of like quick sprints with the whole pickleball thing. So I
That's
wouldn't
right.
mind trying to see what mine would be now. But
Speaking of pickleball, you're going to be going inside here shortly, right? No more outside playing for you.
there is no good indoor place around DC for me to go to. So I was out there in Under Armour tights, leggings, compression stuff the other night. And I felt fine just because I'm used to all the cold weather tailgating stuff. The good news
Okay.
is a lot of people aren't. So the courts are empty. I can actually get out there and get some games in. Before I'd have to wait 30 minutes between games. Now maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes. So that
Oh,
part's nice.
okay.
But if anyone knows a spot, I'd love to open up a place. Your boy might be needing a job. So hey, you guys want to go in on opening up a facility? You let me
Let's
know.
do
I,
it.
I see
Let's
Walgreens are shutting down around town. So
let's do it. Let's do it,
man,
bro.
I am down.
Let's
Seriously.
do it.
1000%.
We just gave our blueprint to everybody who wants to do it now. So, we should have talked offline.
Hey, everybody wants to do a podcast, but I don't see them all out there, right? It
Oh,
takes some
okay.
initiative.
I got you. Well, we're going to talk offline about this.
Yeah, I'm definitely down for that because they're actually opening one next to your neck of the woods called the Pickler, which I am very jealous of because I'd be down there every day if I could. But another person that I'm a little jealous of just because they're getting an NFL paycheck, Andy Dalton. I mean, his time to throw is 2.5 seconds, right? He's not lighting the world on fire, but because he's a vet, he's getting rid of that ball. And we had a hard time last week, trying to contain that Ravens offense. Granted, it's Lamar, freaking MVP, picking us apart. Good news is it is Carolina, right? Their average yards, passing yards a game. Let's see here. Passing offense yards a game, 187 yards a game. I mean, being real, that ain't much. Rushing yards a game, 111. So they're ranked 28th and 22nd in offense. I just think a lot of that's because their defense is straight garbage. Their defense just is not good. And I think fans, not the team, I think fans are sleeping on the Panthers just
Mm-hmm.
because of their record. I'm trying not to let that happen to me because of where we're weak, because of the fact that, we didn't have B-Rob last week and we saw what happened to our offense, right? And how we became, one-dimensional. Just Austin Eckler, just in this run game, isn't the same without B-Rob.
Well, you said it last week. We didn't have our normal compilation is thunder and lightning, and we had lightning, but we didn't have any thunder. So we've got to get that back. We definitely have to get that back, and hopefully this week we'll have thunder and lightning.
According to B, he is going to be playing this weekend. This is actually what Jaden had to say about what the offense looks like without him.
B-Rob just told us that he plans on playing on Sunday. Practice felt pretty good today. How does that change what you guys do, even though everybody else is the next man up, but having him in that backfield with you, how does that change the way you guys approach things?
Yeah, I think it's still the same approach. Regardless if he's here or not, we want to be able to go out there and be dominant in the run game. But for him, B-Rob is a special player. How he's able to run the ball, how he's able to break tackles and things like that. And people don't give him a lot of credit for his hands out of the backfield in the passing game. So it's going to be helpful to have B-Rob back. Looking forward to it. But, we got to continue to execute our game plan and play our game.
So B was a limited participant today, and it's only Wednesday, which is, it's a good sign that he gets a chance to actually go through. I don't know how effective he's going to be. That's what concerns me. I don't want him to push himself just because it's still early in the season. I also don't want them to say, oh, well, it's Carolina, so we don't need him. Because I don't think that's the case. Unless they bring up a Chris Rodriguez or a bruiser type back like B, because McNichols and Eckler just, it's not the same, right? And
No.
Carolina's run defense, granted, it's not the best, but they're still NFL players. And we don't want Jaden to have the entire game on his shoulders.
No. We even though I think he could handle it, but we don't want that. Continue in a sense, not baby steps, because he's beyond that. No, he's out. There's no more baby steps. He's off and running. But like you said, if by chance B isn't right, we still got a long way to go. If you need to sit him, and we'll take our chances with what we got for Carolina and moving forward. But if he's ready to go, strap it up, brother, because we need everyone to be able to participate to beat these guys. Forget what the record says.
Yeah. And I actually was just thinking about this. I've got some, I'm sure they could probably get some over there at the facility. But when my knee hurt after I was doing a pickleball tournament, right? And I got some CBD oil to massage on that thing, I felt fine the next day. I think we need to get some of that to be.
I bet you did.
This thing feels great. It's 100% legal. I got it at a farmer's market in Maryland. So,
okay.
It's fine. I'm assuming everything at the farmer's market's okay. But if B needs some, I'm happy to slip him a bottle I got. I bought a couple at the farmer's market because this stuff actually works really, really well.
It's got to be NFL approved, Ted.
That is true. Yeah, damn them. I don't think it's NFL approved, but
probably not.
I'm also happy to piss into a cup for the man if he needs. So it is whatever it takes to win, man. This is happening right now. Just like you said, we want the team to make trades. I am happy to do what I need to, man, at this point. But for you, the Commanders win if. Give me 3 things that happen and we win that game this week.
Well, the first thing is, as we said, we don't take the Panthers lightly. That's the first thing. Don't take them lightly. The second thing is, although the Red Rocket isn't on a winning team, he can still read defenses and throw the ball. He can sling that ball. The Red Rocket can sling the ball. He really can. They just haven't had a complete team get together. The third thing is defensive line. Ooh, guys, please stop this run, because we know that the run sets the pass, or vice versa. And we just don't want to get these guys off and running and even give them an inkling of a chance, because if you can't put them away and they stick around, you find yourself sometimes that last 2 minutes and they throw a bomb, keep them in the game. The last 2 minutes, they do something miraculous, and now they've won the game, or get in the field goal range and they won the game. So you got to put them away early and keep them away.
Yeah, I agree with you. And for me, we got to get the run game going. Without that run game, that play action pass doesn't work. The read option doesn't work. We got to get the run game going with whoever is at running back, whether it's B-Rob, whether it's Eckler, whether it's McNichol. We got to get it moving, because I think Jaden tried to force and keep some of those runs instead of actually dishing it, because we weren't getting any yards with the other guys. And I think he took a couple of hits against the Ravens he probably shouldn't have taken. After going back and watching the game and seeing every Jaden snap, there were a couple times when he could have handed that ball off, but it didn't work a couple plays ahead of time before then, and he just kept it when he shouldn't have. And then I think he was trying to force it and do a little too much on his own with his legs. So if we get that run game going, I think we'd be better. Second, for me, you got to limit the big plays, right? It's the big plays is what killed us against the Ravens. We talked about that John Keim stat where I think regardless, we'll pull it up again. They just crushed us in big plays. And looking at Chuba's game log, He's busted a 38-yarder, a 38-yarder, a 23-yarder, a 19-yarder, right? He can hit those big runs. It's just demoralizing. We got to make sure that that doesn't happen and limit them, keep it within, third and manageable, right? Don't let them just crush us with those big plays. And especially with that secondary, we were getting torn up by freaking Mark Andrews. I mean, I think if we had to run a 40, we could beat Mark Andrews in a 40. I would put money on me and you to be able to take that slow ass white boy down in a 40, right? But that's who beat our secondary last week, and we can't let that happen.
No.
Right. And lastly, I'm gonna actually let Jaden give my last point for me.
It was kind of frustrating for watching back at the game. We weren't that good on third down. They did a good job of getting off the field on third down. So kudos to them. Tips and passes, got us in some third and longer situations. So just going back to that, watching the film is, going out there, how can we be better as a unit? I think third down was one of the main emphasis that we didn't execute at a high level at.
We were 4 for 12 last week on third down, right? We can't
do
that. No, not good at all. We converted 1 third down in the second half. We cannot do that against the Panthers. I'm not saying we're going to. I'm saying we cannot let that happen, right? We have been doing well on third down, and hey, we're 100% on fourth down, but that just means we're not getting it on third, right? So we got to make sure that it's manageable and we're moving the ball. We're going to have a defense that we already know is weak. And yes, they're going up against a weak opponent, but we got a lot of holes that a bunch of new guys are coming in to fill, right? The best way to make sure they don't get exploited, not have them on the field, right? Let's keep the offense out there. Let's keep the ball on third down. And we got a chance to be 5-2. And I'm kind of tired of seeing this is the first time we'll be this and this since, this many years, right? I mean, the team puts these stats out. It's the first time we'll be 5-2 since 2018, right? I don't care. Let's just go 5-2, right? And then let's worry about the Bears. You guys all party with the Hog Farmers on Saturday beforehand, right? And let's make sure Darryl Green and all the alumni that are coming back for homecoming get to see a heck of a game. And that's all I really care about this weekend, man.
Don't forget to get your girl a boutonniere, okay?
I'm going to have to work on that. Where do you even get those nowadays, man?
Any floral shop has them, brother.
All right, I'll have to find one around town.
Well, I hear the music playing in the background, and this one I really do like. DC. DC. You've been with us this long. Continue to stay with us. Tell your friends, tell your family. Like it, subscribe. It helps us out. It really does, guys. In the meantime, remember, you rep it hard, or you don't rep it at all. Tailgate Ted, Rally Captain. DC.
Was a pilot, 55 games later, drafted second with the highs. He can run, he can pass, he is the total package. Man, we've been waiting for something that's electric. We could feel it in the air, something big is about to happen. Success is his mission, and the ladder he keep climbing. Jaden, the city we've been waiting for, a QB that can lead us back to greatness. I swear we all been patient, and it's you that we got faith in. Let me tell you something about